this event and a little bit about yourself and your own craft?
Sure. I'm Patricia Hooper. My husband Thomas and I are local here to St. Genevieve. We own ASL Pewter Foundry on 3rd Street. This is our annual Early American Life Traditional Artisans event. We've been doing this for 19 years. This is our 8th time here in St. Genevieve. And we invite artists who have been selected by Early American Life magazine for their directory of traditional crafts to come in and set up little booths in our shop and sell their wares, and also to educate the public on traditional craft, where their craft fits in the history of the country. And these are all artisans whose work has been judged museum quality by a panel of 15 to 20 museum curators that have been selected by Early American Life magazine for the judging process. So these are all people whose work has been judged museum quality reproduction of traditional craft. I have 8 artists this year, and you've met a bunch of them already, or you will further on in the program. And so we hope that you can all come down and have a chance to see what these artists have to offer. These are people who are at the top of their game in what they do. And it's very exciting to be able to offer them a venue, really, to show the historic nature of what they do, and a historic venue that enhances that. My husband and I make all the pewter that you will see in our shop. We have an apprentice, Lynn Tucker, who has been with us for a little over a year now, who also does the pewter work. But we don't carry anyone else's pewter. Everything we do, we make right here. And you know, it's important to us to be keeping traditional crafts alive, as we are doing with the pewter, and as we're doing when we encourage and support our other artisan friends.
Hi, would you tell me a little bit about who you are and about your craft here?
I'm Phil Gilson. I'm the last colonial American glassblower working full-time in the country, here visiting the Hoopers at ASL Pewter for the weekend. And we're having an Early American Life magazine artist show. All my glassware is from recycled beer and wine bottles. It's the same glass they used in the 17 and 1800s. And I'm using original cast iron tools and molds to reproduce the colonial era glass blowing.
Right. Is there anything else you would like to?
That simple.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Woohoo!
You're ready.
The acanthus decanter is from the 1830s, and the mold was in the Fenton factory basement in West Virginia before they tore the buildings down. Then I went in and pulled a load of molds out of the basement, none of it really blown in the lifetime of anyone alive. And I'm reproducing it the same way with the same tooling that was done at the time the mold was originally made. And the molds are cast iron, and the design in it, this is an acanthus leaf, is hand chiseled into the cast iron, and the trade at the time was called chipping. The molds have a high molybdenum content to them, so that when you chip with an iron tool, the cast iron doesn't chip out, it just carves. And that is a trade that is pretty much lost now also. I'm the last one that I know that is actually chipping glass molds. So I'm the last one blowing these in the way it was done in the 17 and 1800s. And I don't know anyone else left that's carving into cast iron either. This is a famous piece. This mold is a pattern mold. It was the 3rd pattern mold ever made in the United States. It was made in the 1790s, and it's called G3 number 5 historically. It's a sunburst pattern. And a whimsy that the glassblowers would do is, instead of making a bowl or a decanter, they would make a hat. So you can use it as a hat or as a bowl. And that is an after-hours piece that the glassblowers would make at the end of the day. One, to empty out the bottom of the tank of bad glass. And they would also use those for practice pieces for the new glassblowers.
about specific pieces.
Okay, my name is Vernon DePau, and I do hand-carved pieces. I've been wood carving since 7th grade shop class, and a lot of my pieces focus around patriotic themes. So my eagles are from the historic pieces that were done during the early 1800s, early 1900s, after the United States became a country. In 1782, the eagle was adopted as a symbol of the new country. So eagles became very important patriotic symbols of the time. So for example, some of the eagles I have one here, gold-leafed eagle, and that eagle was depicted on the top of a campaign poster announcing a debate between Abraham Lincoln and Stephen Douglas for Illinois Senate in 1858, and I used that image to create this carving. The one below it is from a gentleman named Henry Bellamy out in Kitchener, Maine. He did them during the early 1860s, and he did them typically in individual pieces so they could carve a little bit faster. So the rest of the pieces are just historic pieces that I enjoy carving. I have an Abraham Lincoln. I have another eagle up here on an ellipse, and one here with arrows. So I have many different pieces that I've been carving over the years, and I always enjoy wood carving because it's very relaxing, and the pieces that are small are things I can actually do on my lap, sitting, watching a football game or whatever, and the bigger pieces I do in my wood shop, but I use all hand tools.
Thank you for your time. And your craft and history about any specific pieces?
Hi, my name is Kathy DePau. I make small quilts, mostly just from leftover fabrics and just small scraps of fabric. These are just multiple designs. Nothing is original to me. They're all historic patterns that have been used for years and years and years. Sometimes I use reproduction fabrics. Sometimes it's modern fabrics. Sometimes they can mix together and still make a nice composition. There's lots of little pieces people use them. You can use them as a candle mat. You can use them as a table centerpiece covering. Just, wherever you want to put it, it works as a decoration around the house. That's it.
Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you.
Hi, whenever you're ready, would you tell me who you are, a little bit about your craft, and the history of any pieces you'd like to share?
Okay, I'm Kathy Grafton from Pontiac, Illinois, all the way down from northern Illinois, and I'm working here with silk ribbon and silk thread to make little wall pieces, and most of my designs are about 18th century, early 19th century, because most of my events I'm usually dressed a little different than this. And silk ribbons and old art goes all the way back to the mid-1700s in France and England, where it was done on the gowns of the court clothing of people, and then on caps and shoes and everything, and brought to this country by the Moravians, who taught it in their dame schools. And one of the things they would make are wreath designs, and I don't think I have any wreath designs except around the bee skips. So what I do, a lot of my pieces have little bees on them and bee skips, and then I also do a sheep, which is French knots with the ribbon. But what I love about the ribbon is how the flowers turn into little flowers, and I'm just doing basic embroidery stitches. I won't talk about this piece, but I'll show you a couple. So you may want to look at couple down here. A lot of my designs are based on Shaker spirit drawings. They would do drawings of hearts with pen and ink borders, so I try to do fun borders with those. And then this design with a little bit of applique of the bee skip. And then also I do some Proctor and Pennsylvania Dutch type designs. I have a distelfink, which is a two-headed bird there. And it's just a lot of fun. I travel to a bunch of central USA states to do events, and am busy all the time. So.
share?
Yes. Hi, I'm Lisa Palmer, and I am living here in St. Genevieve. My art is quilling. It's also referred to as paper filigree, which is more of a historic name for it. The art itself can be dated back about 500 years to the French nuns. They had that ability to gild the edges of paper, and so they would do that gold or that silver edging and make beautiful replicas for crosses, anything religious. As it kind of progressed through, it became one of those arts that was more higher society type of art because, let's face it, paper was expensive back then, even though it's not now. And so for being part of the ASL Pewter Early American Life Traditional Craftsman means that I have been able to research and come up with items that would have been made several hundred years ago. This particular one, this is a replica of a fire shield. A fire shield would be about 18 inches wide and 24 inches long. It would be on a post, and you could adjust this, and it would set between you and the fire. And it would keep sparks from flying onto your clothes and things of that nature. So fire shields would need to be decorated because, of course, they were just wood. They might do needlepoint, different things on them, but many of them were done in the paper filigree art.
All right. Thank you.
I own Sassafras Creek Originals on St. Mary's Road here in town, and my craft is I make reproduction antique game boards, so I do the painting, and then this is kind of turned into a little hobby for me, and this is punch needle, and this is how I do that. So I have a punch needle tool, and I punch on the back side, and the front side is what you get as the end result. So these will be flag pins, like these are little pins that you can wear, little pin to wear. So this is just my fun thing, but the main thing I'm in Early American Life for is for the game boards. And I've been doing that since 1994. And I try to pick antique symbols and designs and reproduce those on the game boards. And then they're aged to look like they're 200 years old. So they'll fit in with your antiques. That's it.
Whenever you're ready, would you tell me who you are, a little bit about your craft, and the history of any pieces you've done?
Okay, my name is Suzette Crummel, and I live in Quincy, Illinois, and the work that I do is called penny rugs, or wool applique. It's a craft from the 1800s, and each year I enter Early American Life magazine to be in their directory of Early American Life Artisans, and this year, this is my entry. It's called a hearth rug. So it was laid in front of the fireplace, and if an ember would come out of the fireplace, it wouldn't hit the carpet, it would hit this. Wool's very resistant to burning, and so that was helpful so that your good carpet underneath didn't get burned. And each one of these little things are called lamb's tongues, and they're made out of wool. I hand stitch everything. They're my own patterns, and hand cut things, hand dyed, and I stitch each one on individually so that in the tradition of if it's a hearth rug and something gets burned, it can be easily replaced. And so everything that I do lays on tables, even though they were called rugs. They lay on tables and are on beds. So there are big, large ones that I've made that lay on beds, and that's what I do.
tell me a little bit about who you are, a little bit about your craft, and any history of any pieces you'd like to give me?
Oh, sure. My name's Michael Konecki, that's short for Michelle, and I own Stone Hollow Studio out of Eureka, Missouri. And this is my scrimshaw work. Scrimshaw was a sailor's art from the late 1700s and early 1800s. And back then they carved on whale bone and teeth to pass time. I carve mostly on cow bone these days, and all of my work is hand etched. Each line that you see is cut with a scribe. So I basically cut each line and then put ink in when it's all finished, and that's what makes it show up. So I do some more contemporary things, and then some that are extremely traditional. Nautical themes, of course, are the most traditional for scrimshaw, but I like to do some other things like grapes and some whimsical things like happy little stars. And that's kind of the history of the art form.
All right. Is there any particular piece you wanted to share?
No, I think any of these, I'm really pleased with some of the grapes. I like working in anything that uses a lot of detail. And there's several of us here this weekend from Early American Life magazine. This is the 27th year my work has been chosen for the directory, and we're judged by about 15 museum curators from across the United States to have quality historical work.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.